Hi, my name is David, and I'm going to walk you through how I solved the CSWP practice problem 13.6. So for this problem, we're going to get started in the top view. We're going to create the basic outline for the flange, except for the fillets that we'll add in later. We use offset entities with a thickness or a width of 20 millimeters, and then we're going to cut this part with a line so that we can extrude up this region higher than this region here. All right, let's get started on all of that in the top plane. So create the basic shape here. Set a radius of 75. Move this into the origin. And make this vertical distance 180. Okay, so that's what we want to use offset entities on with a width of 20. And then we can divide this region up. Just like that. Okay, so now we're going to extrude up the flange part. And here's where I want to introduce a little tip that I learned from a viewer who left a nice comment. So thank you, MusicWill321. So notice how the sketch was hidden inside this feature. You can make it so that that doesn't happen by right-clicking on the feature tree where it has the name of the file, and then going to Tree Display, and then Show Flat Tree View. And when you do that, all the sketches that you make are going to be out here at the same level as the features. They won't be hidden inside the features any longer, or sort of eaten up by the features. So that's kind of nice if you have a sketch and you're going to be extruding different parts of that sketch up, or making cuts with it. It's pretty nice to have that sketch out there and not hidden inside these features, like we're going to do right now. So we're going to take this sketch and extrude up another part, this part right here, and we're going to extrude that one up. It looks like 40, but then plus this height right here of the flange, which is 3. So the thickness of 3. So 40 plus 3 for that one. And then click on the sketch, extrude this part another 20. And that's looking pretty good. So let's take care of these fillets now. We'll take care of the fillets that are over here. Those are going to be radius 20. This one, and then this one over here. Okay, those are radius 20. We can see that from this view, radius 20 for those two. And then there is the question of, what about the draft versus the fillet? Which one do we do first? And I think the answer to that question is right here. So here we see this horizontal edge. If we drafted first, so if we drafted all around here first, then this edge would become angled in like this. And if we add the fillet to that, the edge of the fillet will also be angled. But that's not really what's happening here. It seems to be pretty straight. In this view, horizontal. So we should do the fillet first and then draft, and should get this kind of view. All right, so let's do that. We're going to fillet 15 these 4. And that was coming from right here, 4 fillets with radius 15, these 4. And then we're going to add the 3-degree draft. Okay, so draft 3 degrees. For the neutral plane, I was kind of debating between pulling off of this face here, because that's what's connected to the faces we're going to draft. So let me just highlight the faces we're going to draft first. So it's going to be all of these guys here. And I was thinking that these faces are touching this face right here, so better to angle them away from that face. But It turns out I got a closer to the answer by selecting the top plane as the neutral plane. So it's going to be pulling away from, or angling from, or pivoting about the top plane. So let's do that. And I forgot to select the last face here. There we go. Okay, that's looking good. Scared me there for a moment. Oh, and so what I was saying about this is you can see this is a vertical line right here, which is horizontal in the other view. But that's what we want. Otherwise, it would have been coming off at an angle if we did the draft first. Okay, so that's looking good. What else do we have to do? A bunch of other fillets and whatnot. And this is actually another question I had too, which is, should we do the shell first or should we go around filleting everything first? And I think it should be filleting everything first, because then if we do the shell later, then we can see that these fillets inside are automatically put in here as needed. So it looks like the fillets were done first and then the shell was done. Because otherwise, if we did the shell first, then we would have a bunch of straight, like non-filleted edges here, and that's not what it looks like. So we'd have to go in there and like add them all in. So let's fill it around first, and we can maybe start with, let's see. We can start with this R2 fillet. Okay, that's around here. All right, I believe that's the only R2 fillet. There are a whole bunch of R5 fillets, basically all around here, the top here as well, and I believe right here as well, although not sure it really shows that. Doesn't really show exactly what these are, I think, in any of the views. This R5 is down below. So I guess I'm assuming that these are R5, and it does seem to match the picture. So we've got 4 of those. It's looking good. All right, and then I think we're good to go for the shell. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll shell away the bottom here. And oh, we gotta add the thickness, which is 2. We can see that from right here, 2. Oh, there's one thing we have to do actually before the shell. I just realized. We want to shell, if we look at this cross section right here and kind of zoom in on that, you can see that there's some kind of shelling going on with this little bump as well. So this 2 millimeter thickness is extending all the way up here and then down here. And there are little fillets going on right there as well that you can see in some other views. So we're going to need to create this little bump first. We can worry about the hole later, but we're going to need to create that bump in order to, before we do the shell. Okay, so let's take this sketch right here. I'll create a couple of construction lines to get the center. I don't think it really says where it should be located, but it looks like it's in the center, so we'll make that circle in the center. It gives a radius of 12.45. Oops. So we're going to have to multiply that by 2 to get the diameter. And then we'll extrude that up. Looks like we're going to extrude that one up 3. So you can see that from right here. 3 up. And we do want to include the fillets for that right now. Looks like there are fillets of, there's an R1 typical fillet. And it looks like if you zoom in again here, that there's a fillet around the top edge, but also the bottom edge as well. So let's fillet both of those. So radius 1, the top edge, and the bottom edge as well. Okay, so now we should be set up to shell. So we'll shell with a thickness of 2 basically everything here. Open up this whole inside. Looking good. Yeah, and you can see if you look at a cross section here. If you look at a cross section, you can see how the thickness is maintained as you go up and through this part. And this part right here that's detailed in the drawing is also looking pretty good. So everything's looking good. All right, so I think we just have a bunch of holes now to make. And the top hole is not too bad, so we just need to click here, do hole wizard. We want, let's see here, we want a tapped hole, or so we can see right here it says M14 times 2.0 tapped, so I'm taking that to be a tapped hole, and symmetric, since we're millimeters, type tapped hole, and then M14 times 2.0. I'm not sure exactly how you would read that, by 2.0 or times 2.0. We'll do a through all, and we want the position to be right at the center there. So right there, and we can right click to approve. All right, so that's looking pretty good for our hole there. Now these holes around the outside, these seem to be a little bit of a pain, because it says right here 33.5 typical. So that seems to indicate that the spacing between these is 33.5, typically all the way around. But if you do that along a path, so if you use this feature over here, instead of linear pattern or circular pattern, curve-driven pattern. So if you create that curve and then try to place the holes along the curve, I couldn't figure out how to get this 33.5 equal spacing to make it look right. It always seemed like if I did that, then some of these holes would not quite be symmetrical. Like if you look about this axis right here, it looks like there's some symmetry going on, and I just couldn't figure out how to get that to happen. Another issue is I don't really see any indication about where these holes are. So that one is kind of a head scratcher as well. So basically my strategy at the end of the day, because it doesn't really matter where the holes are exactly in terms of the volume, if you just want to check the volume and get as close to the answer key as possible, it doesn't matter exactly where the holes are. So I ended up just trying to make this curve that they're on as true as possible, although that one's also slightly confusing. And then make 20 of these with equal spacing. So I'm going to make one of these and then use the path pattern and make 20 of them with equal spacing. And that will make it look nice and symmetric, even if maybe some parts of it, like the 33.5 spacing and the 30-degree angle and the fact that these are not going to be perfectly lined up, even though that's going to happen, I was okay with that. So anyway, if you want to do like a circular pattern here and then linear pattern here, and then something over here, and then somehow try to figure out where these holes are going to be, then that's another way of approaching it. But I couldn't figure out where these holes were, so I just went with a curve-driven pattern with equal spacing. Okay, so that was a lot said there. Sorry to ramble on a little bit. Let's go ahead and put these holes in. Although first we need to define the path. So one of the things about defining the path, going to continue on here, is that it says that the radius of this little corner of the path is 20. And so that means you can't use an offset entities from this outer curve here, because if you did, then that would make this radius right here smaller than 20. And that's not what we're being told. So basically the only way that I could think to approach this is to just recreate this entire path and dimension it all and make sure that the distance between the outside and this path is 8.5. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do that in this face plane. Oops, that was in linear pattern. All right, so we'll just recreate this whole thing, roughly. Oops. Okay, something like that. And we'll go ahead and make this lock to the center. We want tangency right here. We got tangency there and there and there and there. Okay, so that's looking good. And importantly, we want these radii to be 20. This one and this one. We probably could have done some symmetry there, but that's okay. Or made these equal. All right, so the other thing we need is the spacing. We want here to the outside to be 8.5. So that's looking good, and it's a typical thing. So from here to the outside over here, also 8.5, and we're fully defined. So that wasn't too bad. But that's the sketch that we need to be able to make these holes on. And what I'll do is then exit out of this sketch, create a new sketch in the same plane as that sketch. So we'll go here, create a sketch, and then make a circle down here at the bottom with a radius of 2.5, so diameter 5. And then cut extrude. Through all is fine. So we've made that first hole down here at the bottom. All right. So then we can go into linear pattern. Sorry, well, the little arrow below linear pattern, curve-driven pattern. We'll select this curve. So we'll actually select the sketch that has that curve right there as the direction. So it's going to go along that curve there. And then the feature that we want copied is this cut extrude. And we want 20 of them with equal spacing, just so we get the symmetry right here, even though these holes right here are not going to align perfectly. It won't affect the volume, so this is kind of the best I could do here. Let me know if you have a better way of handling this. I definitely would appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and hide this sketch, but looks like we are done. So let's check the volume. The volume is 123,401.51. The answer key's volume is a little bit different, 123,392 cubic millimeters, but definitely within the 0.5% error of the CSWP. And if you did get the correct volume, please let me know how you did it. Maybe there was something going on with one of the little features that I went through, and I don't know. Can't really figure this one out. So, but close enough. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you learned something, and let me know in the comments what you thought. Take care and keep on studying. Bye.